the Holiday Inn. Nice view. 2 queen-size beds. Pool in a gym and a jacuzzi on the 15th floor. Synergy. Somewhere the venue's nearby. But don't ask me where just yet. Also, Tobias was at the fucking Canadians hockey game. I wonder what direction it is from here. We are on the 14th floor and we are in the Stephen King room 1408. So, the terrors remain to be seen. Very nice. What is going on? Jeez. Excuse the state I'm in. Just took a shower. Had some breakouts. Here's my nails for tonight. It's negative 3 degrees outside here in Montreal. So we're not going to be camping out. If it was warmer, maybe Sammy and I would already be there. But we're going to take our damn time today. I'm going to finish up bedazzling my jacket. Hopefully I'll use that. And then we'll go from there. Getting a little freakish. After trials and tribulations, I got my Papa Purple contacts in. Making good progress on my jacket. Again, it's very cold outside. People have already lined up, but they have VIP. But we're a 5-minute walk away, which is great, so we'll see. It's 1:24 p.m. now. Crazy elevator. If we don't go faster, we'll never break through. Canadian McDonald's. Show your nails. Metal. McDonald's. Sammy's getting a locker for our coats.
So I'll talk about this in greater detail later on, but this Skeletour for the band Ghost was a technology phone-free show. We had to put our phones in yonder bags that basically lock the phone away until the concert was over. It was just the policy on this tour because the cell phones and things like that can be so distracting. So that is why we're going to cut right to footage after the show.
My son. Moo and Tiki. What are you doing?
You gonna go drink? He's gonna go drink. Go back. I wanna see Moo. Go back.
Is Moo drinking? Tiki. Tiggy's the star.
I wanna see him drinking. There
Michael
he
Gordon.
There he is.
He drink.
Yay.
I guess we'll leave. Goodbye, evil Canadians. Hockey team. Master, your chewy lies within you. Oh, fair. Sammy and I are fucked up on the power of the Lord. The Lord Satan. Let me try to get my shadow out of this. That was my Doc Martin. We're okay. fridge. No. Tucked in the baby. He's warm and safe from the -5-degree cold. Getting to go to a mysterious ghost location. This is the lobby to our hotel. They got Ben and Jerry's here, among other accoutrements. Oh, ghost is real. Very good. Okay, now we're really back. Nothing crazy. You're gonna need confetti in your hat still? You do. You rascal. Here's our haul. Sammy bought this rosary with the purple flowers. We got 2 mummy bucks, Frater Imperator, and Sister, and a pick. And the pinnacle to the pig. Hello. Sorry for how I look. Just took off all my makeup, and it was cold outside, so my face is red. And then I took out my eyeballs, and I had purple eyeliner on, so that's why I look crazy. We're thinking about ordering some food, but I wanted to summarize my thoughts about today's experience because it was one of the best nights of my life. So the hotel's great. Hotel is in a very good centrally located spot. The venue, the Bell Center, which is where the Montreal Canadiens hockey team plays, is 5 minutes away. There's a lot of food nearby too, and I was just saying to Sammy earlier, like, I don't know why it was so hard for us to find food after 10 p.m. when we were here as a family in 2019, but it was very cold today, -5, -14, etc., windy. So we were trying to gauge when people were going to get there. We decided it'd be better if we, stayed warm and rested and hydrated and stuff, and then, waited in a more limited capacity outside. So I think we left here at 4 something, walked to the McDonald's that was nearby the venue, actually across the street from the venue. McDonald's was very nice, except it didn't give us a receipt, so we had to use our American detective skills to determine what the French McDonald's order was. And then the barbecue sauce was good. It tastes a little different, though. I don't know how to characterize it.
It
was a little spicier.
It was definitely not as sweet. I feel like American barbecue is a barbecue flavored sauce.
Yeah.
Whereas this was just like a classic barbecue where it was like a
Yes.
ketchup with spice.
It was good. I prefer it if I had to pick. And then we didn't finish all that. There were like hockey jerseys in there and stuff. I think I took a video. And it was multi-floor. I think it was like 4 or 5 floors. So it was nice. Lots of snow and ice everywhere, but that's understandable given the big storm that the east coast of the United States just got, and then obviously Canada. But everything is just so much better here. The prices are so much cheaper, and I don't know, like, no one's really been a dick so far. The people at the concert were interesting, but, not horrific or anything. So it's just been really nice. So all that being said, we went to the Bell Center after eating most of our dinner, and it was very cold. We could see people lining up. I want to say the first line we saw was across 3 lanes, maybe 70 people. I don't know. Doors opened at 5:30, and we were very concerned because all the other shows on this tour start at 8 p.m. and this was ticketed for 7 o'clock, doors at 5:30. So I just had this fear that 7 p.m. was going to come and go, and it would be a lie. It was an error or something. And that's what people were saying on Reddit, but we'll talk about that later. So we're waiting, and then people started talking in French about where the GA line was supposed to be. It turns out that was inside, which was a little disappointing considering we had started waiting outside. But so we walked in. It was like connected to the train station in that area, which is pretty cool if you have a show at that venue or going to a hockey game or something. Tobias was there last night. at the hockey game, and they played a ghost song on the organ, which was pretty cool. So we get in. There's a pretty substantial line, nothing crazy. It did like wrap around, and they scanned our tickets. They gave us a wristband for the floor, and then we approached. Was the pouch first or security? It must have been.
Pouch was first.
So we put the phone in the yonder pouch. I had my manual blood glucose monitor. I had a variety of other remedies. I had Sammy's EpiPens, and then I had a variety of sugar and other things. It was weird. Online, they have a very strict policy about bringing bags into the venue. I think the dimensions were like 10 centimeters by 12 centimeters by 4. And that's like the size of this book thing. I convinced myself that, you know, if I have medical issues, hopefully they're gonna let me bring it in. I brought my clear bag that I always bring everywhere, full of fruit snacks right now, you can see. And the more I looked on Reddit and on Twitter and stuff, people were saying that, yeah, you can bring in a purse, it'll just get checked. And then as we were waiting, I saw a woman with like a similar size purse, and hers wasn't clear at all. So I was like, all right, well, she's not gonna have a problem, I won't. So Sammy got pulled into the line because she had no bag, so they were like, just go in. And she's like, my sister. And I said, go, run away. They looked at my bag in the sense that they looked at my bag. Did they unzip or reveal anything? No. I could have smuggled Papa in my ass into the venue. They would have no idea. So, you know, I probably could have brought a camera or something, but I wouldn't do that to Papa. Okay. Papa. Wouldn't do that to him. But I did have things that were good. Love it when you call me Big Papa. A guy next to me had a smartwatch, and I was kind of like, oh, I could have brought a smartwatch, but whatever. They were very strict at Madison Square Garden and most of the other U.S. stops. I bought a metal Casio watch that I used just so that when we were inside and didn't have our phones, we knew what the fucking time was. Because when we went to see them at Madison Square Garden, it was like we were in limbo. Like, we got into the venue, they started playing the, you know, orchestral choir music, and we had no sense of time. So that was nice to have the time at least. Pretty good merch line. The venue itself was very, very nice. I've been to not too many hockey arenas, stadiums, but I really like this one. This might be my favorite, excuse me, honestly. Just the lighting and the different stylistic choices. I liked it a lot. Staff were very nice. We got merch. I got a shirt. It was of the prior Papa. I got this Papa Perpetua. Sammy got that rosary with the purple flowers. And then we got pissed off because we walked by another merch table later that had a very long line, and they had some other stuff that ours didn't have. So we'll be going online later to seek out those items, which is a little frustrating. But we got a souvenir cup from the stadium that is pretty cute, and it's like pretty substantial. We got that specifically because it had a lid. All the other drinks, they had to take the bottle cap off, or they would crack open your can or whatever it might be. And I didn't want to have that in my bag and have the top open or something. So that all worked out. Did I say it was cold as fuck? It was very cold. I would say, so doors open at 5:30. All in all, between the merch and getting the drink, we were inside by 6:20. And that is when my shit got rocked as we walked in, and we were getting so close, and there weren't that many people in the pit yet, and it was very alarming. So I'd say we were 4 people back from the actual barricade. But when we saw the band in Glens Falls, we were essentially the second row of the barricade, but the spacing between the barricade and the stage was greater. So I would say our experience tonight, we were just as close to them at Glens Falls as we were tonight, because the barricade was much closer to the stage. They had this like big black curtain that has holes in it and stuff. We knew from when we saw them over the summer that once the opening song starts, it'll drop, and it's very dramatic and stuff. So for a long time, they were just playing like radio hits, and I was trying not to piss my pants. Not literally, metaphorically, emotionally. And then the spooky ghost music started playing. It started. Mother of God. I mean, I was crying before it started, as it was happening.
You're crying now.
I'm crying now. I'm taking the purple out of my eyes. Just so crazy. And like, I know he doesn't want the cameras there, and I get why he doesn't want them there, but I don't want it all to stay up in my mind temple. So I'll have to rely on, they do like clips called Ghoul Bangers Ball that they'll post on YouTube of each show. So I'll have to rely on that. I will say at one point in the show, they were showing the crowd and Sammy got on screen where she like ducked down. And then there was another time, it was one of the last songs. So I really wanted to focus on Papa. And then I happened to look over, it was me and Sammy, and I was like, so that was traumatizing. But it was like so overstimulating, and it was like an out-of-body experience, and it was beyond my wildest dreams. It was like I was having like one of the best dreams ever. Like I'm standing there, there's like a ghoul here, there's like a lifted platform that they're playing the guitar on, and like Papa's coming up here, like the center stage is just to our left. He's like constantly looking directly at us. We definitely made eye contact. There was one point where like he started dancing and he was like shimmying a little bit, and Sammy and I saw this, did the same thing, and he like started smiling.
Yeah.
And it felt like we had a moment where
Like he like fully like laughed.
there is some minor like lighting issues in the beginning, and I had a feeling he was going to take him off, and he did bring it up, so I'm assuming it did piss him off. Not that it affected us really. The whole stage looked great. It was just so crazy. We were so close. They played most of our favorite songs. The first stretch of songs, it was like back to back to back to back. And every time the song would start playing, I would be like, and then I would grab my head and I would go, what the fuck? And there would be times where like he would start dancing and I would like start punching my fist and I'd be like, what the fuck, dog? Or, you know, or he'd do something stupid and I'd be like, oh, I love him. And I had a little Papa with me, and there were times where Sammy would lift him up in a Simba type way.
He is.
Yeah, there's a song called He Is. He's the shining in the light. And people like that. Anytime they talked to us, they would like make eye contact with us, like, oh yeah, you know, it's a great show. And all of a sudden their eyes would kind of like drift down to my bag where the Papa was. And as I walked through, people would be like, she has the puppet. And I bought it there, so I don't know. The show started at 7:14. So it wasn't a lie. You know, granted, most people in there didn't have a watch or a clock, so they probably didn't even realize that it was 7:14. But that was very nice. You know, it would have been fine if it started at 8, but we got out at what time?
It was like 9:30.
9:30. So, very nice. And still obviously full of energy and stuff. The visuals were great. He just sounded so excellent. His voice quality was excellent. The whole band, seeing his face was very jarring, but good. And then, you know, seeing him smile, stuff like that was awesome. Yeah, the audio sounded great, all the mixing. His voice sounded really good. And you can just tell he's like having a great time on stage. I mean, he was being really funny. He was more talkative, I would say, than...
Yeah.
I mean, in the summer, he was particularly talkative at our show. It was also the day that Ozzy Osbourne died, so we spoke about that. He was reminiscing about his early times in New York. But I would say for that first part of that first tour, he wasn't as talkative as the last Papa. But tonight, he was talking a lot. He was cracking jokes and stuff. At one point, and I presume it's because we're in another country and it's more popular in other countries, they started going, ole, 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 ole. And he walks up to the mic and he goes, shut up. It's just very funny. At one point, he was like making us bark at him. And then he's like, well, how about when the dog is like, and he's like, can you make that noise? And everyone's just like, and he goes, you know what? I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but it's not working. So good. During a song called Mummy Dust, they blast out confetti in these canyons. We have tons of confetti. I ate confetti. It went up to through my nose, up to my brain.
Into my eyeball.
When we got back here, I took off my button shirt that was buttoned up to my neck, and there was some in my bosom. Sammy had some in her pants.
Like I had full skinny jeans on in my pants.
That's the power of Satan. And then these mummy bucks, which I videoed. We got some from someone in front of us, and then we ended up getting a second one later on, which was great after this show. Then, or actually throughout the show, the different guitarists were throwing picks all the time. There were some annoying ass people near us where every song right off the rip would be like, put the pick in here. And I don't think he got one. And so what ended up happening was at one point where Sammy wasn't, you know, looking at the guitarist.
So I was looking So if Papa's here and the guitarist is up on the podium here, I was looking directly at Papa. I was not looking at the guitarist over here. But then all of a sudden, I'm like standing like this, listening to him sing, and I slap my hand a lot. All of a sudden, I felt something land right here, in between my arm and my stomach, and it was a guitar pick that got thrown at me by the guitarist, which I think he was probably trying to reach.
He didn't get one.
Landed in my arm, and everyone else got.
So he's like looking at me, she's holding it, and I was like, "Give it to me so I can put it in my bag." Because then the people in front of her, it almost looked to me like he was gonna ask her to give it to him, and no, actually. Yeah, there's some interesting people by us, but I will say to the guy to my left from Montreal, he was very nice. He asked me what time it was, and he was, asking me where we were from. And I mentioned that we saw them recently. So he's like, "Oh, you bought the watch because you knew we wouldn't, have our phones and shit like that." So during Mummy Dust, right before the cannons went off, it was a very safe space for me because everyone was doing the church hands. So everyone had their hands up and whatever. And all of a sudden when we did it, him and I both did the same move and we smacked the shit out of each other. And he was like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, I'm sorry." And then the song was still on, so we just moved on. But he was very nice about it. So then pick Mummy Dust. We made eye contact with everybody. I kept losing my mind. I was crying, grabbing my face. There were just times where I know Sammy would turn to look at me and I would just be like,
like full like shell shocked, like not even looking back at me, just like looking up.
Really, 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 really good. I think that about summarizes the show. It was just one of the best concerts I've ever been to. It's very fun to see the evolution of this new Papa. This tour, Skeletour, the final leg of this tour will end in February. And Tobias has said that basically he's working on other music right now that is not for Ghost. And I will say there was a song that played after they left, and it was in a different language, and I swear it was him. Don't quote me on that. Don't look it up. I'm going to look it up later. But it sounded like it was him. Anyways, who knows what he's doing. He doesn't have current plans for Ghost. But it's such a profitable IP. We don't really know what's going on with the record label, Loma Vista either. So that remains to be seen. But we definitely wanted to take this opportunity to see the band again while we still could. The Bell Center was great. I would go back there anytime. Our hotel was so close by. And then even in our post-concert ventures, that was also very nearby. I think my Lyft was $8 Canadian, which is crazy.
And it was like at most 7-minute ride over from the hotel.
And it's really just hitting the lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like a 20-minute walk, and when we walked back from the venue to the hotel, which was 7 minutes,
I was gonna say 5 minutes.
My throat was cold. There were parts of my head and face that were freezing.
The hairs in my nose.
Yeah.
Were, frozen solid.
Not pleasant. And then I don't need to do that. I wore the contacts to the tattoo. I wore all my shit to the tattoo place. I changed my outfit to something more comfortable. I put on a different Ghost shirt. And then while we were walking up with the tattoo artist, this contact was seceding, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god!" So I just successfully got them off. But so we had heard about this Flash event, and I'd reached out to the place a couple days ago, just trying to gauge pricing, and they had a ton of Flash. I want to say there were at least 50 designs.
Yeah, it was a bunch of. They had 5 or 6 boards up on their front counter of all the different designs.
And I don't know. The account has 22,000 followers on Instagram, and it's a big shop. It's multi-floor. It was very nice inside. I just thought, even though we got there in a reasonable time, that they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's all filled up today." And I think we waited, 10 minutes, if that. I got the crucifix. It looks great. He did great work. As we were sitting there and I was talking with him, he's like, "Yeah, there's one Ghost song I like, and it's a really beautiful song, From the Pinnacle to the Pit." And I was like, "That's one of my favorite songs." And, the other artists in there seemed funny. They stopped by. I think the tattoo took a total of 10 minutes or less. It was my second fastest tattoo behind Mickey Mouse. And, yeah, it was a great deal. I paid. I think we were back in under an hour, and now we're back in the room. So...
Wendy's.
And I'm going to order some chicken tenders. I hope they have 0 sugar barks. That's what I want.
Fuck!
Do they have regular barks?
Yes.
Mm.
I already put that for mine. So.
That's what I wanted at McDonald's, so I had a little bit of regular barks, but my sugar was fine, by the way. For folks that are not related to me or know me that haven't been watching this video, which I'm sorry, I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I have to monitor my blood sugar, and that's tied to an app in my phone. So I had to bring my manual monitor for my blood glucose because my phone was in the pouch. Pardon me. I didn't have any problems the whole time. Usually if I'm like moving around a lot and it's cold, my sugar will drop quickly based on my experience at the Eagles parade for the Super Bowl last year. But it wasn't that cold in the venue. No. It was a little toasty at times, but not bad. Nothing like over the summer. Granted, it wasn't summertime, but Madison Square Garden was like, phew. So no sugar problems. I think I checked my sugar once before we went in, and I usually think it's better to have a little more carbs before doing something where I'm like standing for several hours or moving or whatever. So it all worked out. And then they kicked us out of the venue. We watched them like lower the big crucifix light and the ghost light, and there was so much confetti everywhere. And this very annoying woman who had a fan who was fragrant, yes. She kept like using the fan and trying to move the confetti around to see if there was shit on the ground. I'm like, no, baby girl, we got it. Crowd was interesting, the songs that they would pop for. We got to hear Majesty. I don't think we've heard Majesty live before. Outside of that, it has been a great trip. It was like briefly snowing on our way in, but aside from that, there's really not been any weather. The temperature in our hotel room is a little weird. Like last night, I was both incredibly hot and incredibly cold at the same time. The comforter, I think, is probably pretty heavy, and I probably could have made adjustments to fix that. Instead, I just suffered. So, but it's a great room. We have a good view. We're on the 14th floor. We're in the John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson room, 1408, Stephen King. And actually, every time we've turned on the TV, there's been a John Cusack movie playing.
I should see what's on.
So we should check now. This morning we watched Cindy classic, Must Love Dogs. And I couldn't remember if it was fucking Serendipity, which now that I think about it is Kate Beckinsale, I think. What if John Cusack just was like on screen when you turned it on? So we watched Must Love Dogs, Diane Lane, John Cusack, Dermot Mulroney classic. Sorry. Oh my god, this is Rock of Ages.
Yes.
Sorry, Alec Baldwin has like long flowing hair. Not John Cusack, but equally cursed. So yeah, we watched that this morning. There's been weird shit on TV. They don't have YouTube, they don't have internet. I'm a little disappointed because everything's like very nice here and modern, but we are limited to the Canadian television. So I watched a good chunk of Casino Royale and I wasn't paying attention. And for, I'd say about, I don't know, 20 minutes, I didn't realize they were speaking French. So
yeah, it was a full French dub. And so had no
I was like, wait, they're talking French? And Sarah was like, are you kidding? No. You know, Ghost had mentioned stuff going on in the U.S. kind of vaguely, and, you know, flipping through the TV, they're talking about that stuff. But we obviously have to return, and I'm sure we'll have a good travel back home. Not sure what tomorrow will hold, but we have a late checkout. It's 12 p.m., so that's great. But yeah, so I'm going to stop talking so I can let Sammy order the Wendy's, so I can have my tendies. And then I'm sure I'll check in later. Wendy's and my tendies. What did I think of earlier? This is to the tune of Per Aspera ad Inferi. I gotta remember. Little Chewbacca, Bella and Tiggy, Tiny Moomin, and Little Goofy. Got them all. Fuck! Sorry, Cosette. Oh my god. Also, Ryan, how did you not remember about Christopher Moltisanti and the dog Cosette? Ryan texted us today that he didn't realize what happened to in The Sopranos to Christopher's dog. Well, I think it's Adriana's dog. He just watched the show, so I don't. Whatever. Fuck. Now I gotta think of one. Tomorrow. I'll update tomorrow. I'm devastated. I'd like to mention that within maybe 24 hours, I did think of substituting Cosette's name in. You could say Tiny, Moomin, Cosette, and Goofy. Really wasn't that hard, but I found a solution. Yeah, so I had a really great time. One of the best nights ever. And I'm glad Sammy was there to share it with me. Crazy. Oh, and someone did give us a bracelet. Mine says Square Hammer, one of the songs. Sammy's, I think, says Cerise?
Yes.
Cerise. Yes. It's very nice. Very nice. All right. I will talk to you later. Well, good morning. I'm tired. Sammy and I had traumatic dreams. How did you sleep, tiny baby? That's good. Getting ready, packing up stuff. 12 p.m. checkout. And then we'll decide what we're gonna do. Clear day out, no sun, but no snow. We're gonna eat nearby the arena. So like up there's the McDonald's. Arena's on the left side. We were walking by, I was like, oh, that place looks cool. Well, that's where we were going. Was it La Belle and La Bouffe? That's crazy. So if you're lonely. Franz Ferdinand's on the radio. That's crazy. That's like 70 units of insulin. Le poison. It fizz off. Sammy. Is this a red pickle? Yes.
At the same time, I was like, what is this red pickle?
The drinks are so good. They got Moomin at Urban Outfitters. He's real. Well, time to head back.
Sure.
I don't know how that would translate into tattoo.